And I'm also passionate about history and how history is taught in our country. At the moment, history is taught to make one group of people feel inferior and another group of people feel superior. And this has to stop. We need to look at history and we need to improve it. Labour's Emancipation Educational Trust is vital and it's an investment that is long overdue. Therefore, part of the solution is recognising the role that each of us plays in each other's lives and understanding that to progress it should not mean destruction or dehumanising of another person, but an understanding of each other.
Lady for giving way. Could she just expand on which parts of the curriculum she believes make black children feel inferior?
So, history needs to be decolonised. My honourable friend from Erithing Thamesmead has already discussed how you can go through your whole of the GCSE and not have reference to any black authors at all. You can go through history thinking that, you know, the people that were enslaved were not a part of the uprising. You could go through history and not understand the richness of Africa and the Caribbean. You can go through history and not understand all the leaders in the black community. I mean, I'm surprised that the minister's actually asked me that because it's so well documented that history needs to be decolonised. If you look at everything from the Runnymede Trust, if you look at all these organisations, I mean, it's absolutely amazing. But absolutely, the minister, I'll give way.
I will address the issues around decolonising the curriculum at the end of my speech. But she will acknowledge that even though there may not be enough black authors, there are other racial groups such as Chinese, Asian, and so on, who we don't believe are inferior. So if it's just the number of people who look like you, who've written books, who's making you inferior, why are black children different from all those other racial groups?
Well, there's no other group where they've been systematically stripped of their humanity throughout history, where colonisation has meant that they've gone to their country and captured them and taken them by force to another country, where they have been raped, where have been thrown overboard in the sea. There's no other group that has happened to. And I'm also going to explain in my speech why it is so important that history is taught in its fullness. If the minister takes time to listen, I think I might just teach her a little something. I'd give way.
The Honourable Lady mentioned that no other group in history has been singled out and dehumanised in the way that she's outlined. And yes, without question, such activities are repugnant to all of us. However, we shouldn't exceptionalise either Africans or people from African descent. You will find slavery, and sadly, has been endemic in virtually all societies. As recently as the 19th century, with the Barbary pirates from North Africa, had enslaved over 1,300 Cornish men and women and subjugated them to historical, to slavery. So these are things, you'll find it in China, in the Indian subcontinent, in the Americas. So it's South America and with the Aztecs and Incas and so on. It's a beastly, ghastly thing which we must categorically condemn for all people. Would you not agree that there is no exclusive nature as you're suggesting?
I pause, Mr. Deputy Speaker, because whenever there's a discussion about black history and an enslavement that lasted for decades, that was built on the economy, which is very different from any other type of enslavement. There's always this comparison where people try to compare one form of slavery to another. Sometimes, especially during Black History Month, it would be progress if one could just acknowledge the inhumanity that happened. If they could acknowledge the systemic racism that not only existed then, but has a lasting legacy now in our structures, which doesn't for any other group. But I continue, Mr.